The peak that was never empty. A Scottish wilderness horror experience. What would you do if you were completely alone on a frozen peak in the Scottish Cairngorms, miles from any village, road, or signal, and then realize something terrifying? You were not alone. Welcome back to Midnight UK Mysteries, where silence is never just silence. Tonight's experience comes from Jason Hale, a solo climber who traveled deep into the remote wilderness of the Scottish Cairngorms National Park, a place known for extreme weather, endless snowfields, and stories locals don't like repeating. What he experienced there still follows him to this day. My name is Jason Hale. I've climbed alone for years, not for thrill, but for silence. This time I chose a remote peak inside the Cairngorms. No trail, no shelter, no signal, just snow, rock, and complete isolation. Before I left, a local guide said something strange. He told me, "Up there, the silence doesn't stay empty." I didn't think much of it at the time. At first, everything felt normal. Cold air, clear sky, perfect visibility. The kind of quiet you expect in high mountains. But as I climbed higher, something began to feel wrong. Not something I could see. Something I could feel. Like I wasn't alone anymore. Every time I stopped walking, the silence behind me felt heavier. At moments, I heard faint crunching in the snow, like footsteps, pacing me from behind the snow. But whenever I turned around, there was nothing there. Only empty white slopes stretching endlessly. I told myself it was fatigue, or the altitude affecting my mind. When I finally set up camp on a narrow ridge, the wind had completely stopped. No sound at all. That kind of silence doesn't feel natural in the mountains. It feels intentional. Around midnight, I heard something beneath the snow outside the tent. A slow, scraping movement. Not random, controlled, like something circling me. The tent fabric shifted slightly, as if something brushed against it from outside. I grabbed my torch and unzipped the tent quickly. Light cut through the darkness. Nothing. Only snow falling gently. But then I heard it. A breath. Right outside the tent. Too close to be mine. The next morning I stepped outside and froze. There were marks in the snow around my tent. Deep impressions. Too heavy to belong to any animal I know, and not shaped like anything human I had ever seen. They didn't form a proper path. Some started and suddenly stopped, as if whatever made them had just disappeared. After that, even my compass stopped making sense. My GPS flickered without reason. I told myself it was just cold affecting the equipment, but I wasn't fully convinced anymore. That night felt different, heavier. The wind returned, but it didn't sound natural anymore. It sounded like movement, like something dragging across frozen ground nearby. At one point, a dark shape passed along the edge of my tent. Tall, thin, unclear. It vanished the moment I reacted. I tried to ignore it and put on my headphones. But even through the static, I started hearing broken patterns. Not clear words, more like fragmented speech trying to form something. I removed the headphones immediately, because the silence outside felt worse than any sound. Later, I stopped pretending I was alone. Inside the tent, I sat completely still. Then I saw a faint glow through the fabric. Not bright, not steady. It shifted slightly. like it was moving. I turned off my light completely and held my breath, and then I saw it. A shape outside, human-like outline, standing still, watching. Two faint points where eyes should have been. It didn't move, it didn't leave, it just stayed there, observing, and in that moment, I understood something I can't fully explain. It wasn't lost, it wasn't wandering, it knew exactly where I was. When morning came, it was gone, but the snow where it had stood looked slightly different, as if warmth had lingered there longer than it should have. I didn't wait anymore. I packed everything and started descending immediately. But even while leaving, I could still feel it. Not chasing me, not attacking, just watching from somewhere behind the white silence. I don't know what I encountered in those mountains, and I don't think I ever will, but I know this much. It didn't feel like an animal. It didn't feel like imagination either. It felt like the mountain wasn't empty at all. It felt aware, and I had seen something I was never supposed to notice. This was Jason Hale's experience. Not every peak is meant to be conquered. Some are meant to remind you that nature is not empty, it is only watching. Now be honest. If you were alone on a remote peak in the Cairngorms and saw something standing silently outside your tent, would you pack up immediately and leave? Or would you stay just to understand what it is? Comment, stay or leave below, and if this experience stayed with you. Subscribe to Midnight UK Mysteries, because in the mountains, silence is never empty. It is always aware.